You're watching Detroit on Deck. Here are your hosts, Dave Cesefske and Josh Clark.
Good. What are you drinking?
Just some
Root beer.
Red Bear. All right,
Root the bear.
that's good enough for me. What's going on, everybody? Dave Cesefske, Josh Clark. That's the way we're going to start this. It's a beautiful Wednesday, hump day, right?
What?
We're in the middle of the week, man. I've traded all my assets in fantasy football. I'm addicted to it. Like, it's just good, man. Life's good. And the Detroit Lions, man, make a deal. They strike a deal with the Cleveland Browns. They get Za'Darius Smith. Josh, I want to get into that. Want to get into some other trades in the NFL. Some news surrounding the Lions, that beat down of the Packers. I mean, because listen, anytime you win by double digits in an NFL game, it's a blowout. It's not, doesn't look like a 70-10 game, but like you beat them by 2 scores, right? So that's kind of what we're dealing with. But let's start it off with this. Okay, I want to ask you a question, Josh. Now, I don't know if you had a chance to get these ready, but I want to ask you, in terms of your stud of the week and your dud of the week, did you get your stud of the week? And if not, I can give you mine first. But who do you have out there?
Yeah, go ahead and give me yours first. Let me think on that for a minute.
So-
You can go a few different ways.
Yeah, man. Honestly, so it's a little bit different, but I am going to go the college football playoff. All these teams out there. I think it's super exciting. I think finally college football is got something surrounding them that's good, right? Because this NIL, this transferring, all this stuff really hurting the sport, right? A lot of the people out there, they don't like it as much. I love it. I really do. It's like free agency in college football. The NCAA, in my opinion, was stealing money from people. So I want to put it back in the hands of these young people. However, I wish there was a better way of doing it, because it's putting money in the hands of certain people that have never had money like that before. So can it be a dangerous thing? Yes. However, having these playoff teams, all these games that are going to matter this late in the season, I mean, you're going to, like, you got Ole Miss that's got 2 losses. However, if they can come up big this week, right, with a big win, they're still in the race. In years past, that doesn't happen. So I think college football got it right, Josh. That's my stud of the week.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think college football definitely got it right with the 12 team system. I'd be shocked if they expanded it anymore.
Yeah.
And to your point, you want to go with just a full team. I mean, no one expected where Indiana University was going to be.
Oh,
I mean,
Signetti? What a hire.
This is the program that's 9-0, and people were, basically saying like they weren't going to be anything.
Josh, he hasn't lost in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
So
like,
I mean, if I'm gonna stick in college football with you, it's Indiana as a whole would be my stud for sure.
I love that.
But I'm actually gonna come back to the state of Michigan, and I'm gonna give my stud of the week to Dusty May.
Dusty May, I love it. Oh, man.
I mean, sure they played against Cleveland State. I don't want to hear.
I don't care.
Whatever, mid-major, whatever. It's his first game at a major program in a major conference.
Mm-hmm.
To put up 101 points and win by 45.
Yep.
That's huge, especially with the turnover of what that roster looks like. Only returning, I believe, 3 guys off last year's team.
Yep. No, I mean, that's a great one. Dusty May, what he's doing, he's brought some big guys to Michigan. I mean, figuratively and literally, right? Like some big dudes. He's bringing good recruits in. When Juwan first got back with Michigan, it was like, okay, recruiting looks solid. And then the last couple of years, it's kind of fallen off, right? Like there were some things where people were like, listen, I'd like to play for him. He's an NBA guy, but it's like, can he get his head in it, right? Like he had health problems. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Duds of the week. For me, I'm going Xavier McKinney. And the reason why I say that is because he was quoted before the Lions played them and said, they're out there trying to beat teams up. And there was one quote where he's like, I don't like that. And it's like, to me, that comes off as soft. And listen, McKinney is a baller. He's a great safety, great player. Was good with the Giants. He's good with the Pack. He was good with Alabama. Like, he's a good player. However, that's a real soft approach in my opinion. And the Lions whooped him, and it felt good. It could have been even worse than it was.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it honestly probably should have been worse if we're being honest. But I'm gonna give you two duds of the week.
Okay.
The first one, I'm gonna go back to college basketball, and it's gonna be the University of North Carolina as a whole.
Ooh, and that's his love too. That's your baby.
Yeah, they won their opener. Don't get me wrong. So a W is a W. I get that.
Yeah.
But you gave up 76 points and only won by 14 over Elon.
Well, listen, man.
Like that to me, that's an embarrassing loss with the veteran team that you returned.
Yeah.
So that's my first dud. My second dud is going to be the Detroit Lions defensive line. The Za'Darius Smith trade could not have happened at a better time. You're coming off of a game with only 4 quarterback pressures and 0 sacks.
Yeah, really, and an offensive line that struggled at times. Really, I mean, Jordan Love, and he played terrible. To be honest with you, he played terrible. But like, if he was on, he probably would have carved him up like he did on Thanksgiving. If I'm being honest, because too much time, and that's that was game after game where we were getting away with things. Really, honestly, Josh, if you want to be honest, a big credit to that goes to our secondary. That was even without Brian Branch for a lot of that game, which is absolutely crazy.
They just looked like a complete unit back there. Like,
Agreed.
If not for Kirk Joseph and those other DBs, Terry and Arnold looked good.
Carlton Davis has played well.
Davis has looked really good,
right?
Without those guys, who knows where they would have been Sunday?
I'm with you, man. That's good. That's a good one because listen, that defense, that secondary, actually gets better with the addition of Za'Darius Smith on the D line because that's less time for that quarterback who already doesn't have guys open, right? Love had so much time. He had so much time. We should have beat him worse than we did. I didn't love going for the trick play when we were up 17. I understand we're trying to get cute, but like just keep doing what works.
Right.
I would like Jahmyr Gibbs to be more involved earlier. I love David Montgomery. I do. I really do. And I think he's an incredible back. However, if you're not going to give the ball to Gibbs, eventually when his contract is up, he's going to go somewhere where they will give him the ball. And that might sound crazy, but this guy's a superstar and we're not using him to the full capacity that we could. Agreed?
No, yeah, I 100% agree. You know my love for Jahmyr Gibbs.
No, I mean, he could be like dude, I got to tell you this.
This guy is a 22-year-old version of Christian McCaffrey. Like, let's just call it what it is. That's exactly who he is.
Okay, I'm going to throw another dude under the bus. Call it a dud, what you want. Mike Tannenbaum, an ESPN guy. That trade was absolutely ridiculous. He said, what the Lions need to do for Crosby or Myles Garrett.
It was Garrett,
give up 3 first-round picks, which already that's too much, but okay. And then I want you to give up Jahmyr Gibbs. And like, dude. And he said Jahmyr Gibbs is replaceable. He's another. Yeah. Like, with who?
Right.
Who are you replacing Jahmyr Gibbs with? I listen, I love David Montgomery. Love him. Jahmyr Gibbs is a better player. He is a better player because he's a game breaker. There's not a lot of guys out there that can do that, right? Like Kansas City, for example, they've gotten a lot better because they've gotten back to basics and they're, not Mahomes ain't passing it all the time now. Now they got him some help in D-Hop who looks good, but they went back to the run game, okay? They even got a back that can't break it anymore. He's not the same guy. He can get those he can get those Montgomery yards. We got a dude in Jahmyr Gibbs that can break it in the NFL. There is not a lot of dudes like that at the running back. I mean, can you name me 5 guys that can break a run like Jahmyr Gibbs? You can't.
No, I mean it's literally CMC and Jahmyr Gibbs, in my opinion, that are 1 and 2. Bijan Robinson, sure, occasionally, but I mean,
and CMC's on his way out.
Yeah,
so
I mean, projected back this week, but
I'm saying like in terms of
age-wise,
production,
yeah.
right? Like he's on the back half of his career. Can he still have some good years? Of course he could. But, I don't know. This kid he hasn't even peaked yet, man. They get back Jamison Williams this week. That's going to be incredible. It's going to help them. I think you and I agree a lot with that whole thing. Listen, I'm not going to get into the whole what happened, what didn't happen, but I will say it was overblown. And if you don't believe me or don't agree with me, look at the facts. I mean, if there was a gun in the car, it's for protection. It wasn't just like he was taking pictures of it and, putting money in his face and saying, look at my Glock or whatever, right? Like this is protection. Right. And it was under his car, under his seat. And he said, hey, he wasn't even driving. His brother was. His brother had a right to conceal. He had his permit, right? And he said, yeah, it's my gun. He could have been, he could have just said, hey, it's not my gun. And honestly, an attorney would probably tell him that he should have just said it wasn't his gun, right? But whatever. The kid was honest. And then Channel 7 beats him up and puts a story out there. To me, that's clickbait, man. That's just like, we're going to get a lot of people to like this story and this and that. And yeah, the cops apparently in the audio, they say, hey, what do you want to do? They want to help him out or whatnot. Because in my opinion, it's not a big deal, dude.
Especially in the state, especially as a young, and I hate to use race, but especially as a young black man, new to the city of Detroit.
Right.
Like I'm sure he's heard of Detroit and how the crime rate's so crazy here.
Of course, man.
So his initial thought, I guarantee you, is, "Hey, I'm becoming a millionaire with all this money the Lions are giving me. Yep. My family's really not around. They may come and visit me once in a while. I need to do something to protect myself."
Yeah. So
he bought a gun. He bought a gun to protect himself. Like I personally have no issue with it because I personally have my own. So it's it's to each their own. But I mean, I applaud him for being honest and not hiding that fact, because I feel like the backlash would have been even worse then.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a much ado about nothing, really. But when they put an article out there like Detroit Lions receiver, wanted for gun charge or whatever they want to, it's like,
right,
stop, dude, just stop. And I know, Brad Galley works there. He's their sports director. Yep. He's incredible. I know I can't speak for him, but I'm sure he didn't like that. You know what I mean? Right. Like that's just somebody really just trying for something. And I feel like the league and a lot of people, and I know you said this, they're out to get him. It feels like, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like the gambling thing it's silly. And then you got like the Adderall thing, which is like, when you take Adderall from somebody that has ADD, right? You don't take it to get better. So somebody's here, right? You take it to get here, right there with them, right? Not to get up here. It's to get right there. Get at the same level. It's just not. It shouldn't be on there as like a banned substance. Like it made it look like he was taking performance enhancing.
Right.
It's like, come on, man. Are we really gonna put that at the same? So that's silly. But it's the league, and they've got a lot of problems. They got things they need to update. And the fact that he got a 2-game suspension is kind of a joke. And I love that Dan Campbell had his back. He had his back, and he said, "We're going to stick with JMO." Like, and then everybody's like, "Oh, he's just immature," and he's like, "Yeah, okay, he might be immature, but he's also like he's technically a like young adult. He's still kind of a kid in terms of cognitive development. Also, for a young man, you don't hit your peak till like 26, 27. Okay,
right."
I don't even think he did anything wrong, but I'm just saying he's a young man.
I'm 100% with you. I don't think he did anything wrong. Like you stated earlier, I think it's been well overblown, and I just think that the league is out to make an example of him, and even more so the Detroit Lions, because I don't think they want them to be successful.
Listen, man, we are full-blown the villain, and a reason why I'm going to give you an example of that. Okay, Branch, top safety in the league. Him and Kirby Joseph, in terms of Pro Football Focus, they grade out as the number 1 and number 2 safeties. Literally grade out as it, right? And it is awesome, right? Like, we're villains. We're the villains, right? So that hit, okay, give him 15 yards. Give him 15 yards, right?
Yep.
And say, hey, maybe if you do that again, you're out. But, like, this isn't college football. So for, I don't know, who in the world, Dean Blandino's friends or whatever it is, whoever called and threw him out, that's ridiculous, man. And I'm telling you, that doesn't happen if it's a Patriots safety or somebody else like that, or 49ers.
I agree with you, and I'm glad you brought that up because there was actually a hit in the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins game.
Yeah.
The same exact day. In my opinion, that was just as vicious, if not even more vicious.
I got a question for you. Did Chris Olave's hit, did they get kicked out for that?
Nope.
He got knocked out.
Yeah.
Literally knocked out.
Knocked out, concussed.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. But we're just going to kick our guy out. Okay.
15 yard. That's it.
So, Josh, show the people. What did Branch do when he walked out? Go ahead.
Oh.
What he did, too. He did. So,
I mean, as a guy who competed his whole life up through college, I absolutely love that he did that. I mean, it's just, especially against a rival, like that's the one team you don't want to lose to is your rival. And to me, the Packers are that one team for the Lions. What I hate about the situation is he came out today and apologized.
I hated that.
I absolutely
was going to bring that up. I hated it.
Stand on business and stand on what you did.
Well, you know what that is. That's Brad Holmes telling him to do that. And I hate that because Brad Holmes has had the shirts that say villain. We've taken on that because when you're good, to be a villain, to be a real villain, you've got to be really good at what you do, right? Like the Bad Boys Pistons, right? Like I mean, people hated them and they were awesome, right? Now they were a little dirty too, but like that was the league then, right? Have we had some guys, you know, they question Kirby Joseph. They're like, oh, he goes low, he does this. I'm like, yeah. He's going to make you pay if you go over the middle or if you catch the ball. Like that was like last year where Tyler Higbee, you know, got hit low. It was in the postseason, right? And he ended up tearing his ACL. Yeah, but like, dude, the league forces that. They force you to go low because when you go high, you get thrown out of a game.
Yep. Yeah, the way that we're taught to tackle as a young kid no longer exists. You're literally taught to tackle with your arms, and lower your head and drive.
So what are they supposed to do, man? You think you think a safety has time to think?
No. But the one thing that I don't like either about the defensive player, if they can't lower their heads and, you know, hit a player, then why is an offensive player allowed to lower their head?
Thank you.
If you look at it, like, I mean, to throw somebody out there, Derrick Henry, 9 times out of 10 when he's going into the end zone, he's leading with his helmet.
Right, and that's an alien.
So
you know what I mean? Like that's,
you know what I mean? So like it's kind of hypocritical in a sense, I guess, in the NFL, defensive versus offensive. You're allowed to do it on offense, not on defense. So
agreed. Let's look over that trade, man. Let's look over that trade. You got that pulled up? What the Lions gave up?
Oh, for Za'Darius?
Yeah. See if you can. Okay. So there were mixed reviews from fans, and I was actually shocked because I think this guy fills in exactly what you need, and he really can play another, you know, maybe next year as well. And then outside of that, you draft somebody, you bring them in. But the Lions didn't give up a lot, man. What's the full trade?
Yep, the Lions said they had a pass rusher Tuesday and a deal that they sent the Lions also received a 26 7th-round draft selection from the Browns, who landed a 25 5th-rounder and a 26 6th-rounder.
Josh, do those guys always make the team?
No.
They don't.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, you got to be incredible to make the team that late, right? Like you got to be really good. And if you make the team, you're probably not contributing, right?
Yeah,
like
there's a special teamer for sure.
There's like the rare guys that do that. I know there's Tom Brady. I know that there's Brock Purdy. We're talking about a guy, you know, like that has 10 years experience in the league. Got 5 sacks, and the last 3 weeks he was like in top 5 in pressures. So he was providing a lot. Now, I want to play devil's advocate with you, okay? That was with Myles Garrett on the other side. We don't have a dude right now on the other side right now. It's Josh Paschal and your friend from college, whoever the guy was. Like, I mean, like legit your dude. Who's your guy?
Yeah, no, Zach.
Yeah, like I don't even know who that is. So
they got Noel. They got Davenport who will be back. Pascal will be back. John Kaminsky hasn't even played yet this year. Who's been serviceable.
but he's more of a D tackle.
I get you. I mean, to me, in order for this trade to work, Darius Smith is going to help that middle interior defensive line. The Liam McNeils, the DJ Readers. Those two guys
take double teams off.
And the Liam McNeils take double teams off for Za'Darius Smith.
That's a good point.
I will also play devil's advocate with you. Personally, I thought the Lions, if they weren't going to go after a dude, the Garretts, the Crosbys, those type of guys, you needed to bring in two guys.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
I say that because if you look at what the Lions' weakness is when it comes to quarterbacks, it's the mobile quarterbacks.
Yep.
You're gonna see potentially the Eagles and Jalen Hurts come playoff time. You're gonna see the Commanders and potentially Jaden Daniels come playoff time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So all they're gonna do is scheme up to go away from Za'Darius Smith.
Well, it's funny you say that because there was a deal yesterday I sent to you, and I thought, my gosh, man, this team's going all in. And there was a couple teams I thought, man, they're going all in. So you probably weren't going to get this deal because it's in division. But Preston Smith asked for a trade out of Green Bay.
Dude, I love that to Pittsburgh. I really do.
That is such a and not to mention they also went and got Adam Thielen, who's just been rotten there in Carolina. Throw him out there.
Thielen?
Huh?
Who got Adam Thielen?
Oh, Pittsburgh.
No, they got Mike Williams.
They got Thielen too. Adam Thielen. Let's see. Adam Thielen. I swear. He got traded yesterday. Panthers, Adam Thielen. Let's see.
About to check my fantasy team because I have him on my one team.
Oh, it didn't go through. Steelers tried trading for Christian Kirk and were in talks for Adam Thielen and Mike Williams. Okay. Well, I mean, it says the Panthers are counting on Jordan Matthews to step up into a wide receiver role. He's been transitioning to tight end, which is a joke that they're doing that.
Yeah.
It says Adam Thielen's still out and Jonathan Mingo. Okay, so Thielen, that trade didn't go through. But Thielen was out there, and it said that they were asking for a 7th-round pick. How a team doesn't go throw a 7th-round pick for that guy? Right. I know he's old, but he's
especially for a playoff, like a true Super Bowl contender. Imagine him opposite side of freaking D-Hop in Kansas City,
dude. And I'm telling you what, say what you want about the D-Hop trade, he made that offense good again. Really Pat Mahomes looked incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine when they get Pacheco back.
I mean, even imagine Thielen with the Commanders opposite of Terry McLaurin.
See, and that's the team, man. That's the team.
To me, that is the team for the Lions to look out for. It is the Commanders.
Okay, so they went and got Marshawn Lattimore last night, and I sent that to you.
Huge.
That is that's a lockdown corner.
To me, that's the best. To me, that's the best cornerback in football, maybe outside of Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, and they don't even throw on Sauce's side anymore. They at least throw on his side, and he makes plays.
Yeah,
so here's the thing. You think of a good receiver, DK Metcalf, good receiver, right? I'm not saying he's amazing, but he's good. Every time he goes and plays against the Saints, dude shuts him down every time. Yeah. So he's given up some height. It doesn't matter. He's just a good player. He's a really good player. He reminds me his aggressiveness. It's a little bit like Cortland Finnegan. He's better than him, but he's got that aggressiveness. I love that.
He got that same type of swagger and energy about him.
Yeah, and I love that in a corner. I love Carlton Davis, I do, but in my opinion, it's not even close. So
I agree.
and
I mean, I don't know that I would have gave up I believe a third for him, which is what the Commanders gave up for him.
We don't have a third anyways. We got a fourth. So you know what I mean? So that's the difference. But listen, what I'm saying is they went out and made the deal. Right? The Commanders were not expected to be this good. But when you get a franchise quarterback in there, like they've got, I mean, that dude he's a player, man. He was doing that at LSU. And before that, he was doing it at Arizona. Yep. People don't know that, but he was a baller there. But yeah, the Lattimore trade was real nice. I think that made a difference. I actually think, Josh, the Khalil Herbert to the Bengals is kind of one under the radar. Now they may not make the playoffs. They're at 4-5. They're still in the hunt. But like Zach Moss, I feel bad for him. He's out for the year with a neck injury now, and this is his first time getting a starting job. But laugh at Mike Williams all you want. If you give up a fifth for him and the way that Russ has been playing, that makes them how are they that good this year?
It's gonna make Pickens better. I mean, it's gonna make Van Jefferson as your receiver better. Freiermuth at your tight end position. It's gonna make Najee even better at running back. Like the Steelers, I mean, I definitely didn't see this good of a season. I kind of expected them to be solid. But I definitely didn't see them sitting at 6-2, 7-2, whatever it is right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I will tell you though. The biggest one, and we talked about it a little bit, for me is still Cam Robinson going to the Vikings. I think that, anytime you can get a tackle like that, like the dude is going to be there for years to come, and he plays good football. The Lattimore one was good. Amari Cooper to the Bills. He hasn't really like filled in the way you'd want, but I think you want him to be there because Josh Allen's going to need a guy other than Khalil Shakir. Shakir's a small guy. Now, I really like Keon Coleman, but he's been banged up. He's not ready to take that number one role. He'll be a one eventually. And then one more deal that I saw. I like it if he shows up, Josh. Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. If he plays to what he can be, the problem is I don't know what happens in the playoffs, but Lamar turns into a different dude. I don't know if defenses like during the regular season are like, listen, we're not going to make all these adjustments or whatever. We're going to play our ball. And he goes out and balls out and he gets an MVP. But, man, they really, really force them to pass the ball. Maybe it changes having King Henry there.
Right.
But Deontay Johnson should help a little bit, right?
Yeah, Deontay should definitely help. I mean, he's gonna at least make Zay a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Has to.
And that's kind of what they've been lacking until Bateman this year, decides to actually show up in year 4.
Man, they've been waiting for him forever. He's had games this year.
That's what I'm saying. He's finally showed up this year a little bit, you know what I mean? And kind of filling the role that they expected him to fill, coming out of Minnesota.
I actually like Justice Hill when they give him the ball too. Like he can catch it. He's nice. They got a lot of speed, but dude just is not the same player in the postseason.
Yeah. No, I agree. And the thing with Deontay Johnson though, he's always had the prototypical pocket passer throwing in the ball. Yep. You know what I mean? So that's going to be interesting to kind of see his transition to a mobile quarterback, and when he's used to having just that pocket type of player.
It's like when you're and you should be doing this at a young age for your quarterback, no matter what. When the play breaks down, you don't just stop, right? You keep moving. You got to improvise. You know what I mean? Like you got to improvise a bit and help out your quarterback, right? Because if you don't, you're going to get sacked. And Lamar's he just hasn't been the same guy in the postseason. Think going back to the deal for Za'Darius, you didn't give up much, right? No. And not to mention you only owe I think it's $600,000.
$605,000 is all they have to pay him.
That's are you kidding me? No, he's not in that A tier. I think we can agree with that, right? He's not in that they wanted to bring J.J. Watt back too, which I was like, I love that, but he hasn't played football in 3 years. Right? You can't just step out and be a football player. But he's not in that Myles Garrett, Crosby, Bosa, Hutch. Yeah. He's in the tier B.
He's in the B tier with the Montez Sweats.
Of course, right.
Those type of players, in my opinion.
Agreed. But he's better than anything he had that's healthy right now.
Yeah. And actually having a guy like that, we seen kind of what it looked like when Hutchinson was on the field. You know what I mean? It made the other guys around him better. So if Za'Darius can come in there and make Josh Pascal better, you know what I mean? Come in and make Kaminsky better when he's back on the field. Davenport when he's back on the field. You know what I mean? It's only going to be good for that defensive line.
And you're going to get some guys back. Rodrigo's going to be back. He had a knee injury. He's good. Pascal was out. He actually had a cyst removed from his shoulder, so he beat cancer in college.
Yep.
And this one was benign, so that's good news. So he'll be back. I don't know if it's this week, but I know he's been practicing a little bit.
Yeah.
So he'll be back. And like you said, Kaminsky will be healthy eventually. I mean, Hutchinson's a monster. So, like, if they make the Super Bowl, and I'd be honest with you, Josh, I think they are going to make the Super Bowl. I really do think they will. I think it's going to be – there's some teams that are in front of them that I am concerned about. One of them being, well, at the end, I'm concerned about Kansas City, to be honest. I think Kansas City makes it. But there are still some teams that they're going to play this year, and I don't think Green Bay's done either. I think Green Bay is going to have some better games before it's all said and done. I think Detroit's going to get that division. I think Minnesota's kind of fading a bit. You're seeing Sam Darnold. Right. But there was rumors that they were going to try to go after Stafford, which you can't do that now because they're starting to win. But if we're talking about teams that can compete with the Lions, who do you think is one of those teams that's going to give them a hard time? Because I think Atlanta's been getting better. Obviously, with Kirk Cousins, they've been getting a lot better.
Atlanta doesn't scare me for the simple fact that Kirk Cousins is mobile. Any team with a mobile quarterback can compete with the Lions just because that's their Achilles heel.
So here you go. And that goes right to my point. The number one team that I'm actually afraid of, it's not the Ravens, it's the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's Jalen Hurts and Brown. And what do we struggle with? Superstar receivers and
right. Even in the playoff win last year against the Rams, Puka and Cooper Kupp just absolutely went crazy. So I definitely get that sentiment as well. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, they could easily have the type of game to
Devontae Smith is a one.
Season.
He's a one on teams.
On most teams he is, yeah.
Yeah, but like AJ Brown is like it's him and Jefferson, and like they're at a you know what I'm saying? Like they're on that level. Like they're really really good. That's the team that scares me, man. I mean, defensively, their defensive line is pretty dangerous too. And I will tell you, we've had some struggles lately, like giving up some sacks as well. I mean, listen, Tennessee, we beat them like. We killed them, but we gave up a lot of pressure.
Tennessee was like a top 5 defense, I believe, coming at games. So, I mean, it's not a shock that they were able to put pressure on Goff when they were able to.
But Decker's struggled though. Decker struggled
for sure. But back to the Lions situation for a second here. I personally think that the Eagles are going to probably be the toughest challenge in terms of the Lions to the Super Bowl if they have to meet up. There's a chance they might not have to.
Yeah, for sure.
But after that, it's the Commanders for me. But I give the edge to the Lions in both of those type of games just for the simple fact the experience is there on their side now. A lot of those guys were on the team last year. With the run to the NFC Championship. And 2, if we remain the number 1 seed, no one wants to come to Detroit.
No, I agree.
Nobody wants to come to Detroit. I know Seattle's known for the 12th man, but the Lions and their 12th man with that crowd at home,
it's different.
Is on another level the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, with it being closed doors like that, like Seattle's open, it's closed. The noise level is just insane. And here's the thing that's different too is like when you play like teams on the road, like in California or those other teams. You get a lot of away teams coming in there, right? Detroit just doesn't. It's Detroit fans. You know what I mean? Like you might have some fans from other teams come in, but like we buy our tickets. They fill it up. You go see a Rams game, you have no idea who plays there. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. It's just they don't fill it up, man. It's weird, but I'm with you. And in terms of Super Bowl. The team that I believe that they will face, in my opinion, I still do believe that it's going to be the Chiefs. The Chiefs are just dangerous, man. I mean, they're super dangerous.
The Chiefs are very dangerous. To me, it's going to be really telling if they make it or not, depending on how their regular season actually goes. There's no way they're going to run the gauntlet and go undefeated.
So I don't even think you want to go undefeated. Like
at some point, they have to lose. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
But to me, I think outside of Kansas City, I personally think once they get healthy and get rolling again, I personally feel like this Sunday night football matchup coming up is a potential Super Bowl matchup with the Lions versus the Texans.
Texans are a team, man, and I don't think they've even hit their stride yet.
I would put them just slightly behind the Chiefs and just ahead of the Ravens.
Well, let me tell you this. Chiefs play the Broncos this week. They'll win that game. And the week after that,
it's a division game. You never know.
You never know. But they head to Buffalo after that. That game's always tough. Now, for the most part, they've handled them, right? They have. But after that, Panthers, that's Chiefs win. Raiders, Chiefs win. Chargers, though, is not a gimme. Like, Harbaugh has them playing good. I think they should win that game. But then you got the Browns, who they still play decent. Texans is that game that I have circled with them. And then the Steelers. So they've got a tough matchup, man. And they play the Broncos twice more. Yep. I want to pull up. We got like 2 minutes here. So I want to pull up the Lions schedule really quick.
And I got it right here.
All right. Name those opponents. Do it quick if you can.
This Sunday, you got the Texans. You're home against the Jaguars. At the Colts. Home against the Bears, the Packers, the Bills. At the Bears. At the 49ers. And home against the Vikings.
So, like, those are still some tough games. A lot of people.
Like right now, they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 5 playoff teams currently on their schedule still.
I still think they can win. They got 1 loss right now. I still think they could. I think they're going to go 14-3.
I was going to say this is a 13-14 win team for sure.
They're just too good. Like, they're dominant. Now, are they going to keep beating teams by double digits? No, probably not all these teams. But I think you agree with me. Minnesota is not the team everybody thought they were. No. Like, they just. O'Connell's done as much as he could with that quarterback.
And we both said that, like, they got off to a start. We both said that they were going to fall off. Same with the Bears. Like, the Bears, like, they got some pieces in place, but like they're not. They're not ready yet.
Caleb hasn't shown me enough to believe in him, to be honest. If I'm being honest, so we'll see, man. Listen, we're running out of time. We'll be back tomorrow, so that's fun, right? And talk some more Lions. I do want to talk some Pistons tomorrow and get into that, and then raise a question for you. I want to ask, who's at a better spot right now, Michigan or Michigan State? So we'll talk about that, and I mean the basketball team, by the way. I'm not talking the football team. I want to talk basketball. So college basketball. We're not touching on the football teams. We're discussing.
I'm going to say Michigan just because Michigan State has Kansas coming up.
We don't give an answer right now, but yeah. Gotta get. It's called a tease. So
I know. You can do that.
All right. Thanks for listening to Detroit on Deck. Be sure to like and subscribe to our page for more Detroit content.